What I do have a question though. You mentioned the tour. I'm stoked because you guys are coming to Texas twice this month. I'm amped. What is your favorite class or favorite area or track to teach in versus what is the most popular by demand?
Oh, so every class is so different, which is part of the reason I probably haven't got sick of this yet, right? And like,
Hmm.
it's always a different experience. Perfect example of that is I just got back from California yesterday, and I had back to
Hmm.
back 2 days of class. There were some of the same people on both days, but primarily it was completely two different groups. The day one was all brand new people, it seemed. Sea level riders at the highest, a ton of people that had never been to a dirt bike track before, some
Hmm.
people that had never even been off road, period. Like, forget about not being to a track, they had never even ridden a dirt bike
Mm.
on dirt before. So that was my first day of class. And then second day of class, I had Loretta Lynn's kids, a couple of like high level expert, like pro level guys. It was a completely different experience.
Yeah.
And I love doing both. It's just, I like the variety and mixing it up. Um,
That's cool. That's a cool take on it. Just I've never seen it split like that. At least when I went to some of the classes, it's usually a pretty good split. Like we've
yeah.
had, I'm thinking of like Travis Schneider, who probably one of the best mini riders we've ever seen. And then, you, like you said, you'd have some, a few guys who are like, "Hey, I ride on the farm a lot. I've never even touched a track." But I'll tell you what, I really love attending the classes where like there's a majority of new people because they have the most like potential for growth in that one class, almost like skiing. Like you can go like, it's like, oh my god, I'm learning so much, but then once you start getting good, it's harder to get good, you know what I mean? um because I mean, at your level, AJ, you're working your butt off to gain what, tenths,
Right.
half a tenth, so but them, I mean, they could get 3, 4, 5 seconds if you help them nail a section right with confidence. So to see the look on their faces at the end where it's like, oh my god, I hit that jump, thanks to Coach Mitchell, thanks to AJ, and like their faces lighting up, that's like, I like those classes.
And yeah, I guess it is easier for the student in that sense, in that, like, yeah, they might not know what they're doing yet, but from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, there is a
Mhm.
completely obvious transformation to where
Oh, for sure.
you'd have to be blind to not recognize the difference. Where when a
Yeah.
higher level rider comes in, it does require the patience of, like, they're not going to leave that day faster. In fact, they're probably going to leave
Yeah.
that day frustrated and slower because all they
Yes.
did was
Yep.
realize that they have a couple of really bad habits they need to work on, and they're going to
Yep.
have the patience to begin working on fixing
Hmm.
those habits. And that's the hardest part
For
about
sure.
drilling into anybody that's even remotely fast. So we had a couple of like Loretta Lynn speed 85 riders. One of them was actually the owner of Twisted Development's son. um,
Oh, okay.
I think his name is Jamie. His son, I don't know his first name, but he was great. But he was super resistant on wanting to ride with both feet on the pegs. I don't think he's ever practiced it clearly, so it was new for
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
aka uncomfortable and awkward. And
Hmm.
he really didn't want to ride with both feet on because it was slowing him down, obviously, at
Yeah.
first,
Yep.
right? But I used to get frustrated by something like that. Now I love it because that's where like the psychology practice comes into play. And how can I break through to this
Mm.
person to get them to understand the importance of this thing, and or
Yep.
understand that this is habit building, and like
Yep.
changing in life, even in general, is it's habit building.
Yeah.
So
It
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 really
it,
is
it really
fundamentally. I
is.
mean,
Yeah.
like, if you want to become a better and different person, you have to become a different person by changing each
It
of your
starts
habits
there.
one by one.
Yep. Exactly. And that's the hardest part, I think, is identifying that you do want to change or need one and then implementing the effort into that change. It's so difficult. And
Oh
that was
yeah.
a good example. Once we're stuck in our ways with Moto, it is hard. Dude, how long have you been trying to get me to put my elbows up? 20 years? You know what I mean? Like we're resistant to change, especially when we find something like, hey, I have a little bit of success. I'm getting a little bit faster, closer towards my goal. It's hard to kind of take a step backwards and kind of deconstruct and build again. But you nailed it. It's hard.
If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to send in your own video submission, you can join us in the Moto Academy family inside of the Moto Academy app by just going to themotoacademy.com. That's also where you can sign up for a class. Okay, guys, see you next episode.